Hello, Keenos. It is your resident mouther here to give you something to mouth. Yeah, I figured we're in week 7 now. I'll give you guys a quick little treat, quick little run through everyone's teams, standings, big trades that have happened, and just general shenanigans and yeah, we'll just see how everyone's doing really. I figured we'd start off with a quick run through of trades that have happened throughout the whole year in case you missed any. So we started off with Ferg loading up for what he thought was going to be a good year. Went out, bought David Montgomery, bought CD Lamb, traded away AJ Dillon, Darnell Mooney, and a 1 to get it. That actually looks quite cheap now. Like CD Lamb's good, Montgomery's fine. Darnell Mooney's been shit and AJ Dillon has been properly shit. So yeah, that's a alright little trade there. Then we had myself and Tanky. Naturally, he's got to get his little piece from me. So I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he got Gibson and my 4. Well done, Tanky. They're all shit. Burks, this looks real bad now. Trading away Burks to get Lazard. And you're sending your 3 away as well. You're lucky, like, your team is fucking stacked and you can get away with this one. Yeah, that's okay though. I don't mind it. Like, you're trying to buy your way to a title. I just enjoy the ride, man. Just enjoy the ride. I like the flailing that went on here. Like, you were like, oh, I got Lazard. Get Lazard in, get Robinson in, and they're both just like, Lazard is dead. He'll be alright when he's back, but Robinson's out. Well, Robinson's just shit. And trading away Chase Claypool. I don't mind that trade on the face of it. It's kind of shit for shit, really. I think Claypool's probably got more upside, but he's not a keeper for this year. So and Robinson, I like the gamble of doing it. He had a couple down weeks to start. Why not take the gamble? But yeah, it looks a bit shit now. Then here we have this whole set of nonsense where a tight end moved a week early and just absolute shithousery, to be honest. Shithousery for a nothing trade. But the long and short of it is Tank ends up with DJ Moore. Tank ends up with a tight end who's now dead. Fanoz ends up with Chris Godwin, and Tower ends up with Cortland Sutton. I think in general, Tank came off the best there because DJ Moore has in the past couple of weeks with trades in the NFL. So CMC's gone, Robbie Anderson's gone. They've changed QB in Carolina. I think DJ Moore is like the best one of those 3 to have because he's basically the only target they've got left, right? So yeah, why not? Well done, Tank. Well done. And plus, you fiddled yourself to a tight end a week early and just broke all the rules of trading. Nothing really matters anymore. You can trade whatever you want now. If anyone wants to literally trade for a bag of crisps for someone on my roster, just hit me up. Just hit me up. We can do it. Make it happen. I get the crisps in 2023. You can have someone now. Why not? Anyway, next we have getting Dalvin Cook, so Num loading up again. He gets Dalvin Cook, gives away Najee and a 1. Nath, again, the rapist, gets his little taste. Ooh, slip a 5 at the end. Ooh, tickle my balls, Num. Tickle my balls. Gotta tickle my balls, Num. Yeah, it's okay. I like what Num did there. He gets Dalvin Cook, who is going to be great down the stretch. Najee doesn't look great, but you hold on to him for next year. That's fine. Revenge shenanigans from myself, so trading Mahomes for Joe Burrow, and then Joe Burrow for Geno Smith. I didn't like Joe Burrow at the time of making this trade because he basically had so long to he'd just been so distinctly average, and then yeah, he's exploded the last 2 weeks, and Geno Smith looks shit the last 2 weeks. So good for me. And then yeah, Mike Gallup for Mike Williams. That was actually the overall trade was Mahomes for Williams, and the other pieces moved to make it happen. Williams obviously dead now. I think when he's back to being healthy, eventually the Chargers will come good, right? The Chargers won't be shit. Who knows? And then yeah, Gallup on the other side of that trade and Joe Burrow. For a guy trying to tank, Nath ends up with a very good QB, and Dave ends up with Mahomes and Gallup. I don't know, he's okay. Then we had Gabe Davis being traded for Pittman. I Gabe Davis, I got the 3 as well. Pittman went away to Tank. This I'd like Tank side more if we were PPR, but because we're not PPR, I don't think Michael Pittman has really got a huge upside. He's not scoring touchdowns this year. He's not really breaking 100 yards that often. He's now got a rookie QB as well, whereas I've got the deep threat in the Buffalo offense and Tank's 3. So yeah, I'm over the moon with that trade. That's great for me. Then we have Numbnuts again, really trying hard to buy this trade, to buy this title. He gets himself the Buffalo defense and he trades away Melvin Gordon and a 4 to get it. I like it because I made a similar. Well, I didn't make a similar move. We used Fab in the other league, and I spent a lot of Fab to get the Buffalo defense. And it's mainly when you actually look at their upcoming games. From this week onwards, it's just really fucking good. So Green Bay are looking absolutely wank. Then you've got New York, who are shite. Minnesota is a bit of a dodgy one, but they're good at Buffalo are good against the run, so yeah, not too worried there. Cleveland, terrible. Detroit, terrible. New England, I don't know what QB they're going to be using. The Jets again, who fucking suck. Miami, who I think Tua will probably be like brain dead by that point. It'll have leaked out of his ears. Chicago, Cincinnati, and those are your playoff weeks as well. So yeah, I'm if you get, I think we do playoff in week 16. I'm not sure if we move that back, but if we do, yeah, that's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. So that whole schedule is nice. Is nice to just plug in the Buffalo defense and not have to worry about it the entire time. And then final trade is I gave Marquise Goodwin to Numbnuts for a guy that I then dropped. But Numbnuts has to pick someone up next week. And honestly, I don't even really want his waiver. I just want him to not have his waiver over me. So I don't really care who he picks up. The stupider I can make it, though, the better for me. Like Marquise Goodwin's a guy I picked up on a free agent, so I don't really care. Yeah. So that's all the trades. Let's go to the league standings as it is, and then we'll break down everyone's teams and what we think will happen going forward. So in last place we have Hooves. Mate, what's gone wrong? What has gone wrong again? You're on 590 points for. You're 100 points behind the next guy. Oh, it's all gone Pete Tong. Lost 5 losses already. 5 losses on the season. Oh no, it's absolutely awful. It's absolutely awful. And even worse, like when you look at your team, it's really like not that bad. So I don't know what's gone wrong for you, you know? Yeah, like uh, Russell Wilson at QB. I've been saying this quite a lot. Why? Just why? Why bother? He's just been so bad, and Denver aren't very good. He's not got good coaches to give him good plays. When you actually like, yeah, there's only really been 1 week where you've been happy that you started him. So I don't know how long you've had Russ, but man, I'd literally be starting anyone else at all. But then your receivers on paper are actually really, really good. You know, Jalen Waddle's great. CeeDee Lamb like had a great run with what's his face at QB in Cowboys land. Deontay Johnson, he's more exciting in Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush, that's who it is. But Deontay Johnson's more exciting in a PPR league. Deonta Foreman, like, he should be good now. He's the only guy left in Carolina. Everyone else is fucked off or dead. Monty, he's got a rough matchup this week, but in general, he's getting like the lion's share of the backfield. And then Dallas Goedert's a good tight end as well. And oh dude, absolutely brutal. I think just looking at your first round pick is gone, and James Robinson's now been traded, and he's a Jet. You've been holding on to, I imagine you've been holding on to Jameson Williams this whole time, and Javonte Williams died as well. Like, yeah, okay, but it starts to make sense why you're 2-5 now. But I think you probably need to make some life decisions here and just go, yeah, fuck it. You either need to start cutting some of these guys and making room on your roster to play, or just figure out who you're keeping and sell the rest. So like, okay, I'm going to keep Javonte, Brees, CD and Jalen Waddle for next year. Everyone else can be sold. Do you know what I mean? And just really lean into it. Like I don't know when our trade deadline is, but that's probably what I'd consider here. You've got a good call. Like, you come back next year, if these two guys are both fully healthy, great. Then you'll be coming back next year with two great running backs who should be dominant, and you've got, again, two great receivers coming into the year as well. So with a good draft and a high pick, yeah, sure, why not? You can probably as well, like, you could probably sell some of these guys for something. Just take 3s and 4s, whatever you can get, and just load up for next year. And then, just go and have fun with it. Go and find some rookie QBs to play. Put Malik Willis in this week or something like that. But yeah, no, that's rough, man. You had some rough injuries. The other option is, if you want to go for it this year, get rid of guys like Brees and Javonte and trade for guys that will help you this year. But I don't know who would be going for that. That's Hooves anyway. Unlucky, mate. Next up at 11, something to mouth. The mouth, mighty mouth, once again at the bottom. Cheeky win last week. Cheeky win last week is when you're trying to, like, I sold a lot of good players, and it's pretty obvious what I'm trying to do. So yeah, it's interesting. The points for here is pretty good, 2 and 5. I think I've had some unlucky losses as well. When you actually look at my team, it's okay. I think, like, it's just proper Frankenstein team, really, isn't it? Mike Evans is so hit or miss. Michael Pittman, he was great. If it was PPR, he'd be fine, but nah, he's just like But then my team doesn't look better if I had DK Metcalf, so I didn't really come out any better either way there. Geno Smith at QB, I'd rather have kept Joe Burrow, but that's hindsight for you. And then the running backs, I've put together a running back room somehow. Raheem Mostert has no right to be the Miami running back. Ramondre Stevenson is going to be fine as long as Damian Harris stays dead. And then Greg D. Greg D's looking great right now in London. Give me more Greg D. He might be a keeper for me at this rate if he keeps looking amazing. But yeah, just the rest of it is just awful to look at. Just picking up running backs in the hope that people die, and Chase Claypool's. It's also bad. I think it's like, I don't know. I deserve to be where I am, and if Ferg's team hadn't fallen apart so hard, I think I'd be racing it. I think I'd be favourite to be, like, the first overall next year. I might still be the favourite in some people's eyes, but yeah, there's not much to get excited about here. And even worse, if I wanted to sell up now, I've kind of done as much selling as I can do. So yeah, this is it. I'm kind of stuck with this and whatever I can scrabble together next year. So next up we have the O's. Very good points for on the O's, 720. Like, that's up there with guys at the top of the league. So kind of unlucky to be down here at 2 and 5. And honestly, I think this team deserves a lot more. It deserves a lot better than where it currently is. It's kind of weird. I don't really know how you've managed to be 2 and 5, to be honest. It's just, you've got a very good team on paper. I think it was Travis Etienne's only just kind of come good in the past week or so. And then the rest of it is, it's just like that wide receiver 2, 3 spot that's just not been great. But QB, Jalen Hurts, he's awesome. Olave, he's going to be a keeper for you for like the next 3-4 years. He's great. Brandon Ayuk, Debo's out, so Brandon Ayuk should see a lot of play today. I don't know how long moving forward. Like, he kind of limits your, like, between him, Debo, McCaffrey, Kittle coming back. I think that's too many weapons for San Francisco to reliably provide for. So you're probably hoping like Jacoby or Romeo or Pittman even becomes more reliable. I mean, I like the player playing Brandon Ayuk over Pittman, but it's not like an every week thing you'll be doing. DJ Moore looks great going into the rest of the season, and then yeah, McCaffrey and Etienne both fine running backs. You'll struggle on the bye weeks, but that's okay. That's future. That's future problems. Future problems. Kyle Pitts, man, I don't like Kyle Pitts, but he's there. He's a guy. He's on your roster. Maybe somewhat like if someone offers you anything for him, would you take it? I think he should. I think he definitely should. Like if someone said, "Here's a 4 for him," yeah, yeah. Like because there's just guy you can just roll the dice and find a guy, and play him there instead, and it's just better. So yeah, I think you probably deserve to be higher than 2 and 5. I don't think there's any risk of obtaining the balls here. And again, you're on for a pretty nice win this week. It looks like anyway. Then next up we have the 3 many dart throws, 3 and 4, and he's actively been going out there trying to sell most of his players. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Oh, I missed a trade by the way. Sorry, I've just remembered. Yeah, Chase Claypool and Rashad Bateman. Anyway, yeah, it's quite interesting for Nath. He's actively gone and tried to get rid of good players, and then he's come back and like just embarrassing us all by getting win after win. He's in with a shout of beating Ad this week, but maybe not. Wandale is last man standing in New York, so he's become a relevant wide receiver. Joe Burrow, yeah, he lost Jamar Chase, but hopefully he should be fine. He'll do something. Yeah, he's not going to disappear, but he's not going to kill your team, but he's not going to be great either. Like a lot of Joe Burrow's points came from Jamar Chase just running away with the ball from everyone. Darnell Mooney, he's starting to look better as weeks go on. It's just touchdowns that's missing really, and you're always capped when it's Justin Fields. Like, Justin Fields only doesn't throw that much; he runs a lot more. Yeah, I don't know, not great. Brian Robinson and Tony Pollard are running backs. I quite like Brian Robinson, to be honest, this week against Indy. Indy suck against the run, and Tony Pollard, he's the future there, especially with Zeke actually missing a week. He's probably going to come out and win you this game. Yeah, I get why you bench Jerry Jeudy because Russell Wilson sucks. But he's still a good receiver, and he probably deserves to be potentially a keeper for you. Yeah, I hate that you've done all this, you've sold all these bloody players, right? And I'm still sat here going like, I would prefer this roster to my own. Like, for fuck's sake. Yeah, you've got options. You've got Najee, you've got Brian Robinson, who gets a lot of play. You've got Tony Pollard. You can probably get rid of Sky Moore at this point. And yeah, how did you end up with trade? Yeah. And then you've got keepers for next year as well. I don't think you're at risk of the balls. I don't think you're at risk of the playoffs either, though. I don't think there's enough here to take you there. Like the wide receiver room's a bit too weak for me. But solid mid-table team. Probably get the shit tier playoffs and maybe surprise some people in there. Then next we have Drake London Bridges down, which is Tower. A good points for. Maybe he's been a little bit unlucky with the points against, and that's why he's 3 and 4. The Kyler Murray owner of the league. So, and Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's quite easy to see why you have as many losses as you do. Like Kyler Murray has not been a great QB this year, and missing D-Hop is a lot of it, but I think it's also just Kyler Murray's just not very good. Yeah, he's let you down. Like, there's been people on the waiver wire that have been better than him, and he's let you down quite a lot. And also, he's Kyler Murray, so you're never going to not play him. But, you know, when you actually look at his points for, there's like been, 2 weeks where he scored over 20 points, and the first week as well where he barely did it. So that's only really like 2 weeks that you've been happy that you've got Kyler Murray. It's just not a good spot to be in. Like let someone else feel that pain. Sell him, drop it. Or maybe dropping him's a bit much, but like trade him on the cheap and just get what you can and just don't have the problems there. But then wide receivers again. Amon-Ra's missed a lot of time, and he's a lot of your points. Alec Pierce, I quite like it. I think you've been a bit unlucky where Drake London had a good start to the season, and he's kind of fooled everyone into thinking he's been okay. And now, yeah, you're stuck going, okay, Alec Pierce is a legit better option than him because Marcus Mariota only throws 14 times a game. It's a rough place to be. I would probably, in terms of your roster, like worry less about wide receiver. Like you don't need to hold Joshua Palmer through a bye week. You don't really. Well, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I love him, but that's cool. If you've got Alec Pierce starting for you, you don't need Donovan Peoples-Jones on your roster. You can go like the problem you've got is you're starting Chase Edmonds as your second running back, and yeah, it's because Cordarrelle's in the IR and Zeke's not going to play, but to fix that, you don't need wide receivers on your roster that you're never going to start. You need backup running backs in case people get injured. So yeah, go out and pick up some backup guys. Like I haven't checked the waiver wire to see who's available, but there's people like Jalen Warren and stuff like that who are almost certainly there, and like Sony Michel and Joshua Kelly and those type of guys who, if someone goes down, suddenly they're a starter, and they're gonna like Jermichael Hasty earlier that I stuck on the end of mine. Those are the guys who, if someone goes down, all of a sudden they're the main guy, and they have a lead job, and it turns your roster around, and it makes someone else weaker as well because you have their backup. So yeah, that's a good spot to be in. So next up we have. Yeah, sorry. I think you'll, if you're going to stick with Kyler Murray for the rest of the season, you're at no risk of going to the playoffs, is what I'd say. So maybe make a change there. So next up we have the Wrecking Balls, another 3-4 mediocre mid-table mess. It's the fact that you're 817 points against and you're still 3-4. Maybe you are a lucky team. Let's go and have a look anyway. So yeah, you're going for another win against Nath here. Oh, starting Daniel Jones. Yeah, it's the Herbert bye week. I don't hate it actually. That's fine. Herbert though, as your main QB, he's another one who again, like, there's only really been 3 weeks where you've been happy, and most of them were earlier in the season, and ever since then it's not been great. So it's easy to see why you've struggled. And then, yeah, you've traded. You got Rashad Bateman off me. I thought that trade was interesting because there was a lot of buzz about Lamar before we did our trade. Lamar being missing his deep threat and missing the fact that he doesn't have Rashad Bateman to open up the deep ball. So the fact he took him off me and then he's been shit 2 weeks in a row, I find quite funny. But yeah, when you actually look at your roster, it's like, okay, you're carrying 2 tight ends, so you got TJ Hawkinson and Darren Waller, which I think is a mistake. You've got Justin Jefferson, who is elite, and yeah, it's Derrick Henry as well. You got Keenan Allen. There's a lot of good names on here, but are any of them actually any good? Are any of them actually helping your roster? Like, okay, Keenan Allen, he's been injured the whole year. Darren Waller, yeah, you picked him up off waivers, but he's done nothing since, and he's just clogged up a roster spot. Tyler Algier, I quite like on the end of your roster, but Atlanta, like, he's not going to be a keeper for you. So, and with Derrick Henry, Devin Singletary around, the Gus Bus as well, Cam Akers before he went down, like, okay, maybe you need him now as cover, but I don't think so. Kadarius Toney is one that I do like as a flyer because, like, he should probably be in, like, when he's back off bye. I'd probably be having him in it. Well, he'd be going in over Zay Jones. Yeah, so that's him and Keenan are like the only two that I really like here, and Justin Herbert obviously, but he's on bye. And then your starters are great. It's a very, very strong team on paper, but you again, it's kind of like Tower with Kyler Murray. You're really hamstrung if Justin Herbert goes out and only shoots 12 points. You know, it's not a great place to be. If you really want to compete, you need one of them big 3 quarterbacks. You need like Lamar. You need Joe Burrow. You need you need Josh Allen. those are the ones who are going to be the difference makers, and that tight end as well. I don't think we can be affording to carry two. I think TJ Hawkinson isn't the answer, and I don't think Darren Waller is either. So I think you're better off letting someone else waste a roster spot and have to drop a running back so you can pick up a better guy. That I don't know. I don't know. I think playoffs are going to look more and more distant. Yeah, you'll be 4-4 from this point, but I think it'll look more and more distant as your options on your bench continue to not contribute to your team. Yeah. Then next we have the Genies. So at 3-4, 700 points scored. Playing against the Benchies this week in what looks like a barn burner. Very important game, to be honest. I think to really keep the hope alive of a playoff spot, getting a win here is quite key for Keenos. Chris Godwin started you off quite well on Thursday Night Football, and then starting Tua over Tom Brady against Detroit. Yeah, I like it. And I actually like, again, I'm rinsing people who are keeping QBs in just based on the name value. So I had like the Kyler Murray and the Justin Herbert owner and stuff like that. But you've gone the other way and you've gone, okay, to like Tom Brady name value is Tom Brady, and he's got Godwin and Mike Evans and all these, Julio as well, and Leonard Fournette and all these great players, and it's Tom fucking Brady, but you're Tua against Detroit. He's got Jalen Waddle, he's got Tyreek Hill, he's going to sling it loads, and as long as he doesn't get concussed again, yeah, going to be happy. So I like that. I like that move a lot. Receivers wise, though, it starts to look a bit grim, and it's made even worse by the Jamar Chase injury. Yeah, that really, really hurts your team a lot. Chris, you're going to need more heavy lifting from people like Godwin and Thielen, and Allen Robinson is not the answer. He's definitely not the answer at all. Like I would even consider playing Garrett Wilson over him, and I'm a huge Zach Wilson hater. I'm the biggest Zach Wilson hater going. So yeah. Anyway, your real powerhouses here though are like your running backs, Barkley and Fournette. If you're going to be winning games, they're going to be the guys who do it for you. Yeah, I think on paper it's again like there's guys who just aren't going to help your team on your bench. Dalton Schultz isn't going to help your team long term. Is J.K. Dobbins really going to help your team this season? If you're on the cusp of being a playoff contender, is J.K. Dobbins going to help you if he's like actually back on IR? Is he going to play again? If he's not going to, then you free up your IR slot because Jamar Chase is going to be out for 2 weeks and you need to pick up receivers. Is holding two defenses when one of them's Green Bay. Like I don't really understand this choice. Like they've got Buffalo this week, they've got Detroit next week who like to boat race people, and they've got Dallas who, okay, that's kind of a good matchup. I don't think the Green Bay defense is worth holding on to. So yeah, it's the same thing again. Get rid of that. Get some backup running backs in. Well, for you it'd be receivers. For you, get backup receivers in, or get second string receivers or rookie receivers you might break out. Like Christian Watson would have been a good shout for you. And see what happens, because if you can fix this, if you can fix having to start Allen Robinson or Garrett Wilson while Jamar Chase is out, then yeah, I think you can stack some wins and you can probably make the playoffs. I'd probably, like, if I'm drawing the line of people who I think are in with a shout and aren't in with a shout, it is probably about here. I think probably here actually. I think Tower, no. I think Ad potentially. I think Fano's potentially as well, but I have to start making better use of the bench slots. Next up, we have Rice. Now, is Rice lucky with his points against of 620, or is it just that he's in the good half of the players? We'll have a little quick look. Matt Stafford. Oh man. What's happened with your QBs, and how have you managed to go to 4-3 with this set of QBs, man? That is very, very impressive. Matt Stafford isn't the answer, and Justin Fields isn't the answer. That's all I'll tell you. But the rest of your team is actually very, very solid. The QB issue is something you should look to trade to fix. Potentially look at going and offering someone who's got like Tank, for example, who's got Jalen Hurts and he's sitting at 2-5. He's probably not going to make the playoffs. Go and offer him your one. Go and get Jalen Hurts and get yourself a title. Go and buy the title, because that's all you're really missing when I look at this. Terry McLaurin, he's now got what's his face, Taylor Heineke slinging him the ball. And if he doesn't play, like George Pickens is fine as a backup wide receiver. Tyler Lockett, with DK Metcalf's out, he's going to be great. Amari Cooper has been spot on. You've now running backs wise, Aaron Jones, they've sacked off AJ Dillon completely. Kenneth Walker is now the man, and he looks really fucking good. George Kittle as well is coming back to relevance as a tight end. So yeah, these are all great players. Michael Carter with the Breece Hall injury, yeah, he looks great now as well. You've got DeAndre Swift at running back. I think you've got all the parts here. You could even potentially look at like trading one of those two to try and get an upgrade at wide receiver. Try again. I'm picking on Tank just because I remember his roster, but offer Michael Carter for Brandon Ayuk or something like that, and try and ride that train. That'd be all right for you. I think it's like this is a very on the cusp roster, and it's very strong. I think you can absolutely go out and buy a piece which kind of pushes you into that top 4. I think the QB will let you down though if you don't make any moves, because Matt Stafford is just not the answer, and Justin Fields it's just not good. It's just not good, and there's going to be no options on the waiver wire. QB's kind of a fucking awful place to be this year. All right, so then we get into our top 4. First off, we got the benchies, 772 points for. That is very good, and you're almost pacing the league as well, but Milkers just outpaces you. And unfortunately, you took a bad loss to the Mouth last week, because the Mouth are fucking great. That's what we do. But this is an absolutely fantastic roster as well. I think it's going to be. You're in the top 4 at the minute, and you're as the bottom of the top 4. I think again, looking at the other rosters that we have to come still, you're one of the ones in danger, is what I'd say. Josh Allen, though, you have the QB difference of the league. Everyone has a worse QB than you, and that's really important like this year, because like the difference between the third QB, the first best QB and the fourth best QB was something like 50 points last week. So yeah, it's very important to have a very good QB, and Josh Allen is the best one out there. Wide receivers wise, Christian Kirk has been a revelation this year with Jacksonville. You've then got Devontae Adams, who just gets stupid amounts of targets. To be honest, he'll never not be good. And Devonta Smith as well. He had a one goose to start the year. You were rolling with Hollywood before that. Paris Campbell looks like he's kind of breaking out a little bit. And then Michael Thomas. We'll kind of get onto this in a minute. But they're all good receivers, and your bench is good options at receiver as well. Running backs, Alvin Kamara has returned to relevance, which is great. Antonio Gibson is a brave start. But with James Conner out, I can kind of see why you're having to do that. But again, this is another one where it's like you need to be using your bench slots to try and fix these problems, right? So you've got Will Dissly on your bench, but you're starting Taysom Hill. I don't really care which either one of those you start, because you're basically hoping for either one to get a touchdown. You should be using those bench spots to stack up on where your problems are, which is backup, which is second RB. You should be like stacking these. Well, you already got one of the Denver guys, but you could have been getting Jermichael Hasty, you could have been getting Samaje Perine, you could have been getting like all these backup running backs and seeing what happens in case of injuries and stuff like that, and then you're stocked up there. In terms of moving forward, like I think receivers you could sort out a little bit, get some cover there, but it's mainly backup RB that you need to do. You've got Hollywood in your IR. He's not coming back this year. You've got Michael Thomas, who's not really done anything this year. And you've got James Conner, who's out, and he looks like he's going to be injured for a while, and Will Dissly. So for me, I can kind of see like 4 bench spots there that, and I'm including your IR in that they're kind of wasted, right? They're just kind of wasted. They're not doing good work for your roster. So you kind of need to decide if Marquise Hollywood Brown is not going to be a keeper for you, and if no one wants to buy him, like just cut him, just let someone else have him, just let someone else pick him up off the waiver wire, and you can then put Michael Thomas into your IR spot, and you then have a bench spot to play with, right? Same thing with Michael Thomas. If you're not going to keep him at the end of the year and he's been out and he's not really been playing, if you can't trade him, and people like he's kind of the different one because it's like he might play, but I don't think he's a keeper for you. I don't see him, like he's definitely out this week for a start, but I don't really see him playing again. I would probably look to move on, try and sell him for whatever you can get, like try and get like a 4 or a 5 for him or something like that, and just move on. Like a bench spot for you is more useful right now. So yeah, but between Josh Allen, Alvin Kamara, Devontae Adams, like there's enough power there that you you should probably be in the driving seat for the 4th spot, especially if you can beat Fano's this week. If you can sneak a win here, yeah, I think you're in the driving seat for the 4th spot. Next up, we have Biopos. Dave, fucking lucky, I don't know. 5-2, 680 points for. He absolutely stands out against the people around him because he's got the lowest points for. So I think there's like these two are the ones I'll worry about from roster strength point of view. But Dave is probably the one who's going to lose out if any. If only one of these top 4 drop out from this point, I think it'll be Dave, and I think it's because of the points for. So if we end the season and there's 2 teams on 9 and 5, like these guys all are currently beating you on the points for, so that's one to worry about, one to watch. When we actually look at Dave's team, so he's got Numbnuts up this week. He looks like he's on for a good score though, so yeah, that's nice. Oh, getting a touchdown from your tight end, fucking Evan Engram, like fuck's sake. When I look at this again, you've got Patrick Mahomes, but he's not been great this year. He's not like a QB difference against the guys around you. Wide receivers wise, D Hop, AJ Brown, Debo when he's healthy, Juju has been great this year. So wide receivers wise, they're all great. Running backs, you've been hamstrung by Jonathan Taylor. You keep putting him in, and he's keeps being not very good. So yeah, it's not a great place to be. Even this week, he's getting better. So probably leave him in. On paper, it looks great, but in reality, for you, it's not been great. But this is kind of what I like to see, though. Like rather than like, I get what you're doing here. You're putting in the rookie, not the rookie, the backup running backs, and you're like there, like Numbnuts has Dalvin Cook. You have Alexander Mattison. If Dalvin Cook goes down, which he likes to do, not only does Num get worse, who's a competitor for the playoffs for you, you suddenly get way better because you now have the starter in Minnesota. So that's the type of move that really is going to be a difference maker going down the stretch. I don't like that with Naheem Hines though, because all you've really done there is if Jonathan Taylor goes down, you get Naheem Hines, who should be the starter, but you stay in the exact same place. So you trade a running back for a less good running back on the same team. So yeah, I don't know. I like what you're doing. I don't think it's the right play for your specific roster though. Miles Sanders has been good this year, and I like the Kyron Williams play as well. Like they do like to talk about him. I don't think he's back this week. So yeah. Overall though, very, very strong roster. Once you get all your players back, I don't. It's one of them ones where it's like you're not scoring loads of points because of Jonathan Taylor, but you should still win games because your roster is still good. And D Hop's back now and he looks great. So yeah, as long as you keep pace with the guys behind you, you should be fine. But you are most at risk because of your points for. Then we have Milkers, the guy pacing us all for points for. 5-2, record. Points against is quite low. Maybe he's quite lucky. Who knows? Looking at your roster, like, it's great. It's just great. You've got Cooper Kupp, who's fucking awesome. You've done the classic Milky thing where, like, you were saying before in the draft, you're like, I've got my 2 targets, and Josh Jacobs is one of them, and you got Damian Pierce later on. You got Damian Harris as well, who tied you over a bit, but I think he's not very. I don't know. I don't think he's great for you. We'll talk about your bench in a minute. But yeah, between your wide receivers, where you got Tyreek, T, and Cooper Kupp. T Higgins with Jamar Chase out is going to be a fucking monster. Tyreek Hill is back to being a monster. Cooper Kupp is just great, and then yeah, your running backs very, very scary, very, very scary pairing, to be honest. Josh Jacobs is everything I thought he would be when I drafted him 4 years ago, whatever it was, and Damian Pierce has just been awesome. Travis Kelce on a bye week as well, but you should still be fine for this week. Should still get a lovely win. I think it's, when you look at your bench, like, Jeff Wilson can go, but you probably already know that. Curtis Samuel's good cover to have, probably above average cover as a wide receiver. Eno Benjamin, yeah, just denying the enemy, a good running back there. Yeah, this is all fine for me. The only person that I have a problem with is Jeff Wilson. Like, he can definitely go, but everything else there in terms of what you're doing with your roster and your bench and stuff like that is fine. You can probably get by. Well, no, I think it's great. Yeah, you're just mercilessly doing what you do. The only change I'd probably make is maybe, like, again, you're going to be in the final. You're going to be in the playoffs, right? It's a very, very good chance from this point that you'll be in the playoffs. I don't think Dak's going to be the best QB in that top 4. So possibly go and look at, before the trade deadline, go and hit up Tanky, try and take Jalen Hurts away from him, go and find Lamar Jackson owner, try and take that away from him. Like, yeah, I think that's the kind of move that you need to make, and to really make yourself, okay, I'm in the playoffs now and I've got one of the top 3 QBs. But yeah, Milky, this is a driving seat roster for the championship again. And then 6-1, 734 points for, nearly 700 against as well. So he's earning his wins. When we look at his roster, it's numbnuts, 6-1, only 1 loss. This is probably your best season you've had in a while, really. Traditionally, 9 wins gets you to the playoffs in this league, so you only need 3 wins from, like, your next, however many we got, 7 games or something like that. I'm sure you can manage that now. Yeah, Lamar Jackson, been good. I'd like to. I hope he maintains his form, and I hope he doesn't, like, give you the 10-point weeks again. But it's Lamar Jackson, and he can turn it on and can be amazing. He can be a QB difference. Wide receivers wise, Tyler Boyd, love it. With Jamar Chase out, he's going to be good. Stephon Diggs, I don't know what the race is like for wide receiver 1 on the year, but I know he's in with a shout. And then Marquise Goodwin, while DK Metcalf is kind of out. Yeah, that's okay. I like what you've done there. Like, yeah, play him. Fuck it. I don't think DK is going to do much, even if he does play, because that injury looked nasty. And then, yeah, Dalvin Cook is good. Jamal Williams, while Austin Eckler's out. Like, Cook and Eckler are a great combo at running back. So, yeah, I quite like it. I just want to check something here. Yes, okay, I can understand why you've done this move now. Yeah, Cook and Eckler, that's like an old school style roster that wins championships in it, where you've got, like, 2 monster running backs, and that's how people used to get it done. And you went out and bought it as well. You're trying to buy the title, which I like to see. Yeah, you're just going out, I know it's my year, I'm going to go and try and get it done. Fucking love it. Yeah, we've got DK, who's injured. When he comes back, though, Geno Smith has looked great. Hayden Hurst over Pat Frymouth. Yeah, I don't know. I like the Muth. I like Hurst this week. It's kind of tough, because when you're looking at the playoffs and stuff like that, when you don't have a locked in tight end one, it's easy to want to roster some guys and try and play matchups and stuff like that. But I don't really think it's worth it. But then also for your roster, you're absolutely fine when it comes. Well, you're not really fine in case of an injury. So maybe I'd be looking at rostering. I'd probably just live with what the Muth does for you this week, and I'd just try and roster some backup running backs just in case. And yeah, other than that, I like Sam Ellinger. Yeah, take the gamble now for Lamar's bye week next week. I get why you've done that move now. I was going to shout at you for rostering a QB you don't need, but that's fine. But then again, you've got Josh Reynolds, who is just a guy, and Rondell Moore, who's just a guy. If you're not starting them this week, get them out of your roster because no one else is going to give a shit about them, and they're probably not going to do anything. So get them out and stick in some backup running backs and get some backup for your positions there. Although to be honest, you need wide receiver more than anything. Yeah, at 6-1, keep sneaking wins, keep doing what you can do. Losing to Dave at this point doesn't really matter because you're absolutely smashed him on points for. So yeah, don't worry about that too much, and you'll be you just need just 1 week at a time. Keep thinking, couple more wins, and you'll be there, and you'll be in the playoffs for the first time since first week in the league. I'll be all right, won't it? Yeah. So a shitload of waffle there. Fucking hell, 45 minutes. Fair play if anyone actually listens to all this. Yeah, we're in week 7. We're in week 8. I'll probably do another one in week 12 and go through all the playoff permutations. But enjoy this. Enjoy week 8. And may the best man win the Flombardi, and may the worst man win the balls. Peace.